episode of the Intellectual Saviours of Wrestling with your hosts, the Master of the Brain Damage,
I'm Martin.
and the one and only Sam H. We're going to be covering Raw from Memorial Day, 30th of May. So, where do we go?
Well, let's start off with, I believe, was the opening match of Raw. It was the New Day opening up the show, and they had a brief segment with Shane and Stephanie trying to get them to have a bit of a rivalry dance-off.
Yeah, it was a bit of an odd one. Shane had some moves to it.
Not too sure on Stephanie, but we never got around to that point because when they tried to introduce Stephanie, the famous tag team from the bygone era, the Vaudevillains came down and interrupted, and long story short, ended up being in a tag match. Although it didn't go as planned for either team because we then had the club interfere.
Yes.
And well, technically the New Day got hit first, so they won by disqualification.
Yeah, I think it was a bit sudden to have the club. Looks like they're going for a tag title match now.
Yeah, I would like the New Day to evolve with this storyline with the Vaudevillains, or maybe if they're not keen on that idea, move on to maybe Enzo and Cass. But yeah, I'm in agreement with you. I think it's a little bit early to be shoving the club into the picture because surely they're going to be going down this route. You've got to be having the club get over on the New Day to build up their stature, and they're a team to be reckoned with.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, the New Day have had a long run with the tag titles, and there will come a time where they get beat for them. Is the club the team to do it? I don't know.
Well, I think, with the exception of maybe Cass and Enzo, they're the team to do it, but maybe I'm just enjoying the New Day a little bit too much at the minute, but I'd like them to maybe hold it off for a couple more months, maybe do it at SummerSlam.
Yeah, possibly. They could drag it out to SummerSlam.
Yeah, so that's how that first tag match went. And then we had a singles match between Rusev and Zack Ryder. Yeah. Unfortunately, they seem to keep on playing on the whole happy-go-lucky gimmick, if you want to call it, with Zack Ryder, obviously winning the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania. But for any of us who have been watching WWE for a long time, we know Zack Ryder. He's a bit part player in a bigger story that, quite frankly, doesn't involve him.
He's a jobber, basically. He has been for a number of years. I'll be honest, every time I see him come out for a match, I immediately think to myself, right, well, I know where this one's going.
Well, let's hang on a minute there, man. We'll give him some juice. I mean, he's got I don't know what they're doing with him at the minute, but he's got a semi-successful tag team in NXT, the Hype Bros, with Mojo Rawley.
They very rarely even use that as a tag team.
But they have had a little bit of success when they have been in there. They've won a few matches, but yeah. Moving on to the match, trying to get too far off the subject. Inevitably, Rusev won this via submission, and yeah, that was the end of that match. Quite frankly,
there's not much to say on it because if you've seen the Zack Ryder match, you know he gets in a few spots and then he loses.
Yeah, so we had the usual. We've got to rise and put our hand on our hearts and hail or celebrate, apparently, the best ever US champion.
Yeah, I think you put it in the top 5. Not even the top 10.
I think it's a little bit early to be given that, but I suppose they've got to try and get some heat on him somehow. So it's always an avenue to take. Yeah, we won't spend too much time on that match. And then, well, to be fair, Raw was filled with tag matches. To be fair, it felt like we was on an old school episode of SmackDown with T-Lo in charge.
Hold on a minute, player. That's not the way we're gonna go down here.
Right, let's start with the first one, shall we? We had the Uzos against the surprisingly popular tag team at the minute on television. I don't mean within popularity within the universe, they're just on television a lot. Breezango.
Yeah, this is another comedic team. They probably won't go anywhere. Tyler Breeze is a lot more talented than they give him credit for.
Yeah, and to be fair, you could make an argument for Fandango. Unfortunately, he's not really been given a great amount of time and things to work with whilst he's been Fandango, but we've seen his work in the past when he was going as Curtis.
Johnny Curtis.
Yeah.
If anyone who watched the original NXT, you know Johnny Curtis was the winner of season 2 or season 3. Never got his title shot. And he sort of became a stalker character doing really not PG things.
Well, surely it can't be as bad as when DDP stalked The Undertaker's wife.
Oh.
But that's a whole different kettle of fish that we're not willing to get into at this point.
I don't think anyone would want to go back to that story.
No. But yeah, come back to the tag team match. The Usos won. To be fair, I think we all saw this coming. Anytime we really expect this team to win of Tyler Breeze and Fandango is when they're fighting the Golden Truth, which has happened.
All our other great teams, the circle outcasts.
Ah, yes. The new job squad.
The new job squad. We got about 4 of them.
This is true. Yeah.
So, on to the next tag team match.
It's a bit more exciting. Obviously, this got built up and confirmed on SmackDown last week. You had Soft versus the Dudley Boys.
Clash of the old team and the new team.
Yeah, going along with the running thing they're trying to do, the new era versus the old era or old school, however you want to word it. Don't get me wrong, Dudley Boys were a hell of a team back in the day, but these days they seem to be a team that don't quite get the win overall, and they're there to build up the newer tag teams, which I'll give them their dues, they're very good at doing.
Yeah. This pretty went as expected with Enzo and Cass getting the win, which I really needed. Puts them back into the hunt for the tag titles.
Yeah.
Because hopefully I would like to see him have a rivalry with the New Day down the line.
Yeah, I think that'd be quite interesting. Most notably, probably for the mic skills going on. I mean, the New Day are really good on the mic, but at times Enzo and Cass are in a whole different league.
It's true, they've got the audience out of the palm of their hands, which is a good skill to have these days. If they could sort of maybe teach the main eventers a thing or two about that, we'd be onto something.
Yeah.
Because Cena struggles with it still. And Roman, well, let's be honest, people prefer when he does it at the mic.
Yeah. So that's how that 3 out of 4 tag match finished, and then we had a Divas match to break up. We had Natalya versus Dana Brooke.
Yeah, this one annoyed me again because WWE have been insistent on the women's division getting better and getting more popular, and they still put out these stupid stunts. Like Natalya, she could go 20 minutes, 25 minutes with Charlotte, but they give me 3 minutes against Dana Brooke.
Yeah, to be fair, it's been an issue for quite a while with the timings that they give the women's wrestlers to pull out these matches, and well, I don't know what anybody can pull out, regardless of male or female, who can pull out an amazing match out of 3 minutes.
And it wasn't even just the length of it, it was the ending again. It's like, how many times are they going to do? Someone cheats, Natalya loses. Surely she should expect this by now.
Yeah. Or she'd have someone having her back, which possibly now they are going down that route, because after the match, Charlotte then got involved and they started beating down on Natalia, and then to our surprise, and not to our surprise, Becky Lynch came down, and then the team of Dana and Charlotte very quickly fled to the crowd.
Yes. That's good. But Barry, how can you expect us to take your women's division seriously if you don't take it seriously?
Yeah, it is a bit unfortunate because, well, they've been doing some absolutely outstanding work in NXT. And then they started to bring it over into the main roster. And unfortunately, don't get me wrong, I believe she's a really good champion and she's a surprisingly or not, an amazing heel. Yes, we may not agree with the angles and the routes they go with at times, but she's doing a hell of a job. But the whole her never winning cleanly and always by an interference or someone doing something inevitably in the long run is going to damage her credibility.
It is. What's next?
Right, we've got the 6-man tag team match.
Really? Already?
Yep. Oh no, sorry, my mistake. We had the surprisingly very short match between Dolph Ziggler and Baron Corbin. Now, Dolph turned around and said he was going back to old school and going back to his roots, and he was going to give Baron a lesson.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong, he definitely did, but not quite the way we expected it.
No.
The match started, and then they went backwards and forwards in the ring a few times, and then Dolph gave Baron a very rather nasty low blow, a kick to the male region.
Yeah, retaliation shot, and Baron's low blow at Extreme Rules pre-show. Anyone who's taken a shot will know that it doesn't matter how big you are, you can be 7 foot tall, 500 pounds. You take a shot, you're going down.
Yeah, and Baron's certainly done that. So I have a feeling that this rivalry is going to be continuing for a little bit longer. And being honest, I hope it ends at Money in the Bank because, well, Baron's just been winning the whole time. Normally, you at least try to build it up to be even, and then when you decide who's going to get it, in the end of the war, they inevitably do it, but it's all been pretty one-sided.
Yeah. Before we touch on the 6-man tag team match, I just want to shout out to a segment. There was a Roman Reigns interview, and Seth came down, doing his heel business as he does. He sort of done the thing where he was like, I'm going to get in the ring. No. I love the way that he can do that. He makes the crowd hyped up, and then he goes, no, I'm not going to give you that. Not going to give you that.
Yeah. It's just that natural born instinct that very few people possess these days.
We did that maybe 3 or 4 times, including going all the way to the back and then running back to the ring. Only to go all the way back again.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's on my time rather than not on your time.
Yeah, I have a feeling, with the exception of the house shows, which obviously aren't televised, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see Seth wrestle until Money in the Bank, but maybe they'll give us a Seth match maybe a week before.
And a quick cheap plug, if you haven't watched the Seth Rollins thing on the WWE Network yet, watch it. You won't be disappointed.
Oh, it's absolutely incredible. The journey that guy went through was unbelievable.
If you don't have respect for the man after watching that, there's something wrong with you. Because to even try that test at 4 months,
yeah,
massive respect for the
you
man.
could literally see the pain and agony bursting through his face almost. Yeah, definite must-see watch for any hardcore WWE fan, and even the newcomers.
Right, main event time.
Yeah, we had the 6-man tag match, which included all the Money in the Bank participants so far.
Yes, we do know there's a 7-point coming. We don't know who it is yet.
No, because they really pumped it all out of Raw with 5 out of the 7. Then we had the one on SmackDown, but maybe they're holding off a week or two to confirm the last one. But yeah, we had, I suppose, a classic good heel versus face team.
Yeah.
You had Cesaro, Sami Zayn, and Dean Ambrose against Kevin Owens, Jericho, and Alberto Del Rio.
Now, quickly, but before this match started, there was a segment backstage which really made me laugh a little bit. You had Ambrose complaining about Canadians.
Yeah.
And then watching that and seeing Sami Zayn's reactions to it, knowing he's Canadian.
Yeah, you would have thought someone would have told Dean, but he is tagging with a Canadian wrestler.
It was just great. And then we swapped to the heel locker room, and all they were doing was bickering and arguing with each other.
Yep. And then classic Kevin Owens, he just turns around and says, I don't care, I'm the best, I'm going to win the match.
Yeah. Those are the classic sort of pre-match promos you want, because the good guys trying to get along with the bad guys just they don't get along.
No. As Chris quite politely put as well. He said to Kevin Owens, I don't like you. And then he turned to Del Rio and said, I don't like you either. Much to, I think, Kevin's surprise. He seemed a bit perplexed by that. Yeah, moving on to the match. All the participants in the match, very good, technically talented wrestlers. Didn't disappoint us, but inevitably there could only be one team that won.
Yeah, I was fully expecting this. The good guys won. Sami Zayn with a new kick. And I'm trying to think, who did he pin?
I believe it might have been Del Rio.
Yeah.
Because I think pretty much by then Kevin Owens and Jericho had been taken out, or Kevin had seen enough. And he was slowly making his way back. But yeah, that was about it for Raw.
Yeah, and we'll forget one more thing.
Oh.
The main event, or the proper ending of the show, the return of Captain Ass Kisser.
Oh, yes.
John Cena.
The return of Cena. Although, didn't quite go as everyone expected it to. He came out, he done his big pop, taking advantage of Memorial Day, putting a big put out to the armed forces and the sacrifices that they've made in the past and that. And then, not quite what we expected. We had the club come out.
Yeah. Well, AJ Styles first, and then sort of, I don't know if you would call it a dream match, because this isn't really one to figure on a list of matches that people desperately want to see.
Yeah.
But it is essentially the face of TNA against the guy who's been the face of the ring.
Yep. And then there was a bit of praise from AJ for Cena. And then Gallows and Anderson come out. And then it looked as if we were going to have a 2-on-2 face-off. But rather surprisingly, AJ turned on Cena and started putting a beat down on him.
Can't say I blame him. If I was in his position, I'd put a beat down on Cena too.
Yeah, and then Gallows and Anderson then jumped into the ring and started joining in, and they almost sort of dragged AJ off of Cena. They went outside, and then AJ ran back in and beat up on Cena a bit more. And then he done it once or twice after that. And then you heard Carl Anderson saying, that's the AJ we want and we remember. So, yeah, I think they're inevitably building to AJ versus Cena, which I do believe it has sort of semi-been confirmed for Money in the Bank.
Yeah, that should be a decent match. I mean, anyone who knows AJ Styles' work knows that in a sort of Shawn Michaels mode, he can get a good match out of most people. Yeah. If you look at his two Roman, he managed to get 2 decent matches out of him.
Yeah.
So I reckon he should be able to carry Cena to a pretty decent match.
So yeah.
But of course, obviously, it has to be AJ turning heel, because Cena can't be a heel.
No, that's it. But yeah, unfortunately, that's been the way it's been for quite a while now. The other person's got to almost turn. Apart from when he fought The Rock,
Yeah.
I think they just sort of went with it and said, you know what, sod it, we'll just have face versus face.
Yeah, from what I read initially, if you watch the Cena Rock rivalry documentary on the WWE Network, there were discussions originally of Cena going heel. And he actually wrote a new entrance music for himself.
Oh, wow.
And designed some new ring gear.
Okay.
But this was actually turned down by Vince.
Ah, that's disappointing. I mean, you know, I know Cena has his critics, and I'm not going to lie, I am one of them. But back in the day when Cena was first in the company, and especially all of his heel work, he was very watchable and surprisingly likable as a heel.
Yeah, I admit it, back in 2002, 2003, I was a John Cena fan. I admit it.
He done some incredible work with the top guys at the time. I mean, he obviously when he made his debut, he was fighting Kurt Angle,
Yeah.
and then he had a few big rivalries with the Undertaker.
Yeah, it was a good one.
And also, I believe he fought Brock as well.
Yeah, Brock a couple of times. He had a famous parking lot brawl with Eddie Guerrero.
Oh, yeah. And then with the wrestling god, who's now the wrestling commentary god, that is JBL.
Yeah. The match that should have gone longer, WrestleMania 21.
Well, it must be noted both wrestlers were pissed off with how short time they got.
Well, we're going to touch on the ending of that match in an upcoming episode of The Finishing Touch. So keep a lookout for that one.
Yeah, and I think that about does it for the Raw review this week.
Yeah. So, from your hosts, the Master of the Breakdowns,
I've been Martin.
and one and only Savage. We will see you in a couple of days for the SmackDown review. Peace out.